welcome back to the channel. I have this month's scrapbooking kit here, and it's going to be at least the start or the majority of my project that I haven't quite figured out completely yet, but I kind of at least know what products I'm going to be starting with. So to go over real quick, there are 3 flower packs from Little Birdie. This flower pack, if you remember, I had opened up when I did my altered paintbrush, so some of these flowers have already been taken out. There are 2 different Tres Jolie chipboards in here, clock faces, looks like 2, maybe 3 in here. 3 Tres Jolie chipboard clock faces and 2 film strips. And then from Simple Stories Simple Vintage Essentials collection, there's the 12 by 12 paper pack with these papers, and then to go with the paper pack, there's the typeset rub-ons, an ephemera pack, and then the captured bits pack. So that's what I'm going to be starting with. I may bring in the botanical stains. I don't know. I may bring in some of the cardstacks and more kit, but I think that at least the base, the start, will be from the paper pack and the Simple Stories. It goes with the mood board, which is Vintage Family. I kind of have a couple of ideas working their way around in here. Just gonna see which way everything takes me and mostly hope for the best. Okay, I'm kind of getting a start going here in my head on what I want to do with this. I'm gonna make kind of a mini, about I think a 4-inch square mini accordion fold-ish album. I have 2 sheets of the white cardstock from the Cards, Tags, and More kit cut down so that they are just 4 inches wide. I just trimmed off that 1/2-inch strip, cut them down to be 4 inches wide. I haven't scored them yet, but they will get scored in a way that I'll figure out here shortly. I picked out a few papers and a couple I've already trimmed down so that they're currently 4 inches by just the full 12 right now. I'm really just trying to get my pieces and my thoughts organized as well as I can. I have a few of the other ones in here that may make it in. I don't know which ones for sure, but going to see what I can think up here. So I'm going to take these are going to be my base construction. Oh, okay, I know what I'll do. If this is 11 inches and I can get 2 out of it, that would be 8 inches. 11 minus 8 equals 3 inches. So 1.5. I'll go 1.5 inches and 1.5 inches, and then I will score at the 5.5 inches. Yeah, that works. There we go. And so that will give me these 2 here, and these will be a little bit thicker overlap, but that's okay. I'm not particularly worried about a 1/2 or a 1.5 inch overlap there. So at least for the white cardstock, the scoring will go. This is going to get covered with the pattern paper, so any marks on it's not going to matter really. I'm just going to try to find something darker for you. So on the white cardstock, you're going to want to score at 1.5, 5.5, and 9.5 inches. So far, I have 4. I may have to add in something more. Don't know yet. Don't know yet. I'm going to see how long this folds out as and work from there. All right, so even though I'm going to reinforce them here in a minute, I did the 2 score lines on the end in one direction and then flipped my page over, or flipped my cardstock over, and then scored the 5.5-inch line. And that was because as an accordion fold, that whole, when you're folding on scores, mountains become valleys, valley becomes peaks, something like that, to work with the scores on the paper and not make the paper too weak. And I think, what should I do? I do like the medical tape because it's kind of shiny and ribbed, and well, I can reach it from where I'm sitting. Very convenient having medical tape, especially if, like me, you don't necessarily live in a big city. You probably would be a lot more apt to find some medical tape at Walmart or Target or a pharmacy type deal, or anywhere medical supplies are sold. Easier to find medical tape than linen hinging tape, unless you have a large area to shop in, big city type deal. All right, so I will be hoping these are going the right way. Going to work my folds out. All right, little catch up here. I have my accordion all put together. Just glued my pattern papers down. Well, not glued. I used double-sided tape for a couple of reasons. One, there's no dry time. And two, there's no drying. So if I would have used a wet glue, then I would have somehow put this between something flat or two flat somethings to help keep it from warping as it dried. So this was faster, and then I didn't have to worry about any warping there. So there's all of that. And then I came through in some forms or other and added my tapes. I only had them on one side, and to help me keep track, I just put them on the peaks. So looking at it this way, all of the peaks have it on it. These are the 2 pages that the tape is on the white cardstock that make up the little pocket things here. So I didn't put any tape on the pattern paper. And then same thing on this side on the peaks, except this one has the tape on the cardstock inside. So I didn't put it there. So there's that. I just have this little bit that I fussy cut out. I paper clipped it into place. This is going to be my front cover. So I just paper clipped this because I wanted to use it and I didn't want to lose it or forget what I was doing or anything like that. So I just have it tacked on like that. While it waits for the final construction, I cut a few little pamphlet looking thingies, booklets. These fit inside the 3 pockets. I don't have the bottoms of my pockets sealed up yet, but they will get there. I just haven't fully decided exactly how I want to do it. If I want to put glue in them or if I'm gonna wrap ephemera around them. And then on these smaller ephemera pieces, I originally started, I was only going to do those photo corners, but then when I saw all the little hearts and all the little stars, I decided I wanted to do them as well. I just put some glossy accents on and let it dry, and when it's dry, you can kind of snap them sometimes. Snap that glossy accents a bit, and let's see there. Gives it a cracked enamel look type of thing going on. Some snap a little too good. Some, it depends on the paper thickness, the thickness of the glossy accents. But I have all the stars, hearts, and photo corners coated. So they will be getting put on also eventually somewhere, somehow, something. But before I get to all that, I want to work on my chipboard pieces. I don't really have a full idea of what I'm going to be doing exactly, or at least not what I'm going to be doing with them. I don't even know if the clocks will be on here. Maybe one on the front. I have the film strips. I know kind of what I'm going to make them look like, but that's about it. My clock faces are going to be a little messy. I'm going to stain the clock faces because it is the natural chipboard color. I'm going to get it wet just to help the staining soak in a little bit faster when I get there. And I'm going to see how the marigold, from the botanical stains in the mixed media kit, I'm going to see how the marigold works on here. I'm kind of hoping that it gives it a little bit of a goldenish or rusty type of look. I mean, I guess if all else fails, I could always just put gesso on and try again. But for now, I'm going to see what I can get going with just the stain on here. And I think I'm going to try to get the black bean on that outer ring on here. Hope for the best. Hope for the best. I'm going to add some wood blue, and I'm going to kind of keep it near the numbers. And then I'm going to see how this all dries. I'll give it a little help there with the heat gun, but see how it all dries eventually. That one's a little more spillage. Anyhow, going to see how this works. I'm going to, I think, before I help it dry, I'm going to let this soak through, let the dyes intermingle, let those stains intermingle and have them dry a little bit slower than a heat gun would let them. And I'm going to see then after all this, I'll see what there is. I'll see what happened to the chipboard. But while I wait for my blocks to get stained, I'm going to emboss my film strip, chipboard, and my little squares. I have 2 embossing powders. These are both from my stash. This is some Rocky Road baked texture. There's not a lot left in here, so. And then I have some Lindy's Twilight Bronze Slate. I like the color of it for what I'm trying to picture in my head. So we'll see. Someplace around here, I also have an ink pad that I keep for dirty work. My embossing ink for dirty work. And I only call this dirty work because it's laser cut chipboard from Tres Jolie, so you get that suit on there. And I mean, if you wanted to, you could put some gesso on it or some kind of sealer or fixative on it and not have that. But since I'm embossing it, I am not overly concerned at all in any way, shape, or form in my concern about any of that. There we go. My little makeshift one. I use it when color doesn't matter. If the embossing powder is a solid, not any kind of opaque or anything, then I just use this. So let's see how this all goes for us. Okay, time for my finishing touches, I think. My embossing is done. I only did one layer of embossing on what I decided would be the back. Added a second layer to the front. The squares are just one layer on each. My clocks have finished drying. I had almost completely dried them with the heat gun, and then I just let them finish air drying. I do kind of like how those colors came out on here, and with the chipboard dry again, the numbers really are standing out a lot. Those laser cuts are darker against that background. I think I'll use that one, or at least half of that one. I have all my ephemera all out here in a hot mess of a deal. And what I really want to do right now, though, is make a little space on the areas with the tape. I think I'm going to add in I'm going to add on some ginger alcohol ink to give it a little bit of an aged look. I'm going to try to do it very carefully. Very carefully. We'll see. We'll see how that goes, right? See what happens to all of this. Would it have been easier to add the alcohol ink on the tape before putting it on? Probably. Did I think about it? Also, probably. And did I forget? Yes and no. I was actually curious of how I could get it to bleed, or how it would bleed out when it was already on the papers. So it was semi-experimental, and a whole lot of hoping for the best. Just kind of wanting to, I don't know, play around a bit, try something new, a little bit more annoying, but you know. I'm also going to ink up things, randomly ink up things, and randomly add ink to pages or what have you. And I'm just going to use some Puma Stone ink. I like the grayish brown look on Puma Stone. I started just kind of playing around. And when I laid the viewfinder die cut on top of the clock, just out of curiosity, I realized I like how it looks with the little numbers poking through. We're going to see how much of that I end up doing. I inked my viewfinder a bit before starting this gluing process. Just thought I'd show the one in there before I add too much more. I'm just going to see how it lines up. I don't want to cut up more than one clock, but I want to see how it's going to all work together on the cover. I have my original cover piece idea, my half a clock chopped up a bit there, and I'm going to try to work out how I want everything put together on here, how exactly I want this viewfinder on here. So right now, I think it's just really going to be playing around and layering up my cover pieces, and it already looks like this is going to be the direction it goes, like so. I will cut up the whole clock. Obviously there's 14 viewfinder windows on here, so maybe I won't, you know what, I'll play around with it before I glue any of the rest down and see where things are. I suppose that's what I'll do, and get my layering done and see where I am, at least for the cover, when all of that is finally in place. I lined up the numbers that I wanted to use showing through. Well, I lined up the numbers that would be showing through, and I had 2 of them left, and I just chopped them down so they could fit in and just make sure that I had a little bit more of an even surface. That way, once it's all dry, I'm just going to flatten it out right now. Let that flatten out and dry up before I try to attach it, so my numbers don't slip and slide around on me. And then I will continue on my merry little way, trying to put my cover the rest of the way together. And after my cover's together, I will just continue to go on through using the ephemera bits. I don't know, maybe pieces of the cutoffs from the pages. Right now, it's just going to be placing everything and building it up and seeing what happens. After many hours, so many hours of gluing everything down and adding some lighter colored sheets into my little folds here so that they could be written on. I think that I am finally done with my little accordion journal photo album thingy. All I have to do now is just stick my 3 things into place. Things, whatever they are, things. And voila. Although, I think maybe I'll work this around this way. And when I do this one, I'm just going to use Fabri-Tac because it's on that tape. So I think it'll hold better against that hingy tape there. Plus it stays flexible. Need it to stay flexible on that bend. I thought about leaving it out, but I didn't really like it. Sticking out too much like that. So, in just a couple seconds, minute or so, I should be able to take those clips off. Fabri-Tac does not take very long to dry, and that'll give me time to go grab up something that I am going to use as a tie. I found it faster than I thought. I have Accordion leather, at least leather-like, I'm not sure. I don't know why. I just think that having a loose leather tie, it goes with that whole vintage feel. So, yeah. This month's mood board was Vintage Family. I have my vintage in various forms. I have my Tres Jolie chipboard on here. I used every single piece from both of the smaller ephemera packs in the kit this month. Every single little and big and medium and everything in here. Cut 2 or 3 sheets of paper. I can't remember right now because, well, it was a lot of gluing. There was a lot of gluing. There really was. Anyhow, I used both of the Tres Jolie film strip chipboard pieces. Used quite a few of mini staples from the tiny attacher. Been loving that thing this month for some reason. And there it is. Someplace in existence there is the 4th corner that goes with these 3, because there were 4 corners that were just like the plain black, and then 4 corners that had a gray outline on them. Someplace, I know it's in here somewhere, there's a 4th corner. I'm just not sure where. After the glossy accents had dried, I had to move things around, and well, I assume I'll find it someday. When I do, I'll put it there. I will. I hope that you enjoyed this project. I used I think I only used items from the Scrapbooking Kit. I hope you enjoyed it. It gave you some ideas of what you can do with this month's Scrapbooking Kit. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications if you haven't already. Give us a thumbs up and feel free to share this video. Thank you, and I will see you again next month. I think next month or next week. Could be the same. I'm actually not sure what day this will go up, but I'll see you again eventually.